Hello guys, Beastie here with another video, and I'm here to do my week 11. I know it's usually early, usually I do it on like a Saturday or something, right before Sunday games, but it's a Tuesday, and I have time this Tuesday. I didn't have my sports practice. I got to come right home, and now I'm not loaded with homework. I mean, I had some homework, but I'm not loaded with it. So I'm here to talk to you guys about football, and how I did with my week 10. I'm not gonna lie. Week 10 was fairly rough for me. If you've been looking at all my other ones, I think I've only gotten like 3 or 4 wrong a week. I think I'm doing pretty good. This week, as I was watching the games unfold, it just did not go in my favor with my picks. So let's get started. See, that one I changed. I should have had my gut feeling and stick with the Colts. Colts, I didn't end up winning that. Good job, Colts. Jaguars, I think that game honestly just knocked you off the playoffs. Any chance on you coming back and being that 6th seed in the playoffs, I think just got knocked away this past Sunday. Jets, Bills. Bills showed up. Their quarterback looked legit. The Bills won that game. So I'm 0-2. Chargers, Raiders. Chargers did win, but then Titans blew the Patriots out of the water 34-10. Someone commented something on my previous video, and well, I have to say, I misunderstood the question. I should re-comment that so he doesn't get the wrong idea. But because he asked, do you think the Colts can still beat the Titans this week? He said knock off, so I was thinking like a playoff spot when I responded to him. I wasn't paying too much attention. That's who they were playing, that they were playing together this week. So I'm going to answer that question in this video when I do my predictions. But either way, big win for the Titans. Good job. 34-10 win over the Patriots, which is tough to do. Saints, Bengals. Saints whomped them. So that's 2-3. Falcons lost. The Browns, Baker Mayfield looked like a pro out there. Good job, Baker Mayfield, getting a huge win over Atlanta, especially when Atlanta was getting hot. Atlanta was getting win after win. They were finally starting to look good offensively and defensively, and Baker Mayfield played that game amazingly. Good job for Baker Mayfield to go in there and in his home stadium and beat Atlanta after having his head coach and offense coordinator fired weeks prior. This was such a good job by Baker Mayfield. I'm proud. He deserves the number 1 overall pick, which he got. Chiefs, Cardinals. Chiefs did win. I think the Cardinals gave him a fight. I don't think the Chiefs didn't blow him out of the water. It would be almost impossible for the Cardinals to beat the Chiefs. But fantastic job for the Cardinals, but Chiefs still won. So I'm at 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4. Packers did win against the Dolphins. That make that I'm like losing count, guys. 1-3. And then right here I'm 3-1. So I'm 4-4. The Steelers won, so I'm 4-5 there. I talked about it when I made the last video. I just kept it there, I remember. Giants, I got it right, so I'm 5-5. Bears did end up winning that one, so I'm 6-5. Bucks lost. I gut feeling it didn't turn out in my favor that time. 6-6. And they lost, but I evened out this week, guys. I 7-7, 16 games, so there's 2 games that didn't happen. Just want to make sure it sounds right. This was one of my worst weeks. My beginning was rough too. I couldn't really predict going into the season very well. As the season progressed, my picks have been pretty accurate. And last week was an exception. I think there was a lot of tough games last week, and I think there were a lot of good upsets last week that led to my record. But let's go back to the next week. Chargers, Broncos. Broncos coming off a bye. Chargers, even though they had a nice big game against Oakland's not very good, but I think I was too high in the Broncos early in the season. I think I had too high of expectations. That's a lot to say because I think a lot of people had low expectations for the Broncos. I had high expectations for the Broncos. I was thinking of them maybe being a dark horse team coming into the year to make the playoffs. But I don't think they're crazy good now going into the season. I think Case Keenum isn't... Well, obviously, Case Keenum isn't bringing the same stuff to the table as he did for the Vikings last season. So I am going to pick Chargers. Now, this was the question. I misinterpreted it in the comments. I thought, out of the playoffs, because I think the Colts are that good. I honestly think the Colts could be a successful wild card team. Even this year, I think they've gotten that good up to this point. In the near future, I can see them being back in the playoffs. Because Andrew Luck, as I was explaining in that comment, Andrew Luck is the player that makes everyone else on his team better. He's like an Aaron Rodgers. If you have certain people going on Aaron Rodgers' team, Jordy Nelson, I think he'd be good anyways, but I don't think he'd be as good and as great as he was with Aaron Rodgers if he had a different quarterback at hand. So I think Andrew Luck's one of those players, and I think he makes everyone better around him. And Jaguar Steelers, I said they had the Steelers number, but they couldn't even get a win off against the Colts, a division game to keep you alive for the playoffs. And there's no team I think that is. There might be one team that's hotter than the Steelers right now, and that's the Saints. You can't give them the win. I'm gonna go Steelers. Bengals Ravens. Ravens were looking rough, but the Bengals just got whomped. But this is a rebound week. This is a test. They got whomped by a really good team, and that wasn't the first team they got destroyed by this season. So, I mean, I think they can come back, and it's a division game. It's tough. Ravens are going to be ready coming off a bye. I am going to switch that pick. It's tough. I'm going to switch my pick and go over to the Ravens. That's going to be a very good game. That's a game for me to watch and keep an eye on this week. You have the Cardinals, Raiders. Raiders, you keep proving to me that you're the worst team. I didn't talk about it when I went over it. But Giants and 49ers and played, and the Giants beat. And Giants are not great. They will lose to majority of NFL teams. They are not good. And the 49ers destroyed the Raiders, and the Giants beat the 49ers. So I think that's saying a lot. Raiders, I don't believe you'll get one more win for the rest of the season, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, speaking that Raiders are already out of the playoffs pretty much. I mean, they can't make the playoffs. It is impossible for them to make playoffs. And so just losing out means you'd get a first overall pick, and you already have 2 other first-round picks. So, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think the Cardinals can put a beating on you. Texans, Redskins. Redskins showed they can get a tough win, and I think they got a good win, tough win against the Buccaneers. And this is going to be tough. I am going to change it, though, and I think the Redskins are going to get a very tough win over the Texans. I mean, you could really go with the Texans, too. I mean, it's going to be a great game. But I think the Redskins are more complete, and I think the Redskins are better at controlling a game than the Texans are. I think the Redskins are very, very good at controlling a game, keeping them on the field and their defense off the field. I think they're very good at controlling the game, and that's why I'm going to switch it over to them. I think if it was a shootout game, the Texans would win. But I think if you see a lot of Redskins games are lower scoring, and that's because they can control a game, and they can just manhandle, and they're more conditioned. They can handle for 4 quarters a tough game without turning the ball over. That's why I'm picking the Redskins. Chiefs, Rams, that's actually happening this week. That's exciting. I'm going to keep going down. I think this Cowboys, Falcons, this is tough too, because I think the Cowboys, I told that person in the comments below the Titans are one of the most inconsistent teams in the entire NFL. Actually, I think I skipped it, but yeah, I am going to keep the Colts winning that game. I'm going to go back to this because that reminded me of the Titans. I think Titans had 2 big wins now, back-to-back weeks. They just had a 28-14 win over the Cowboys, and they just had a 34-10 win over the Patriots. So they've had some big wins back-to-back weeks. But I'm going to say what I told them in the comments, and it's that the Titans ride the wave. If you don't know what I mean, obviously a wave goes up and a wave goes down. It goes up and it crashes down. I think that's the Titans the whole season, and they just keep getting picked up by more and more waves. They got really hot in the beginning of the season. They said, we beat the Jaguars, we beat the Super Bowl champions, we deserve some respect, and they lost some pretty bad games. I mean, now they're winning good teams, but I think that wave's going to crash soon. I think that they're reaching the peak of that wave, and it's going to crash. I mean, I might be wrong, and it might not be this week against the Colts, but that wave's going to crash. So it's going to be very hard for me to pick the Titans. I think the Titans are very inconsistent, and where I was going with this is because the Cowboys game reminded me of that. The Cowboys are also really inconsistent. I mean, they'll get blown out one week and they'll have a good win the next week. I mean, they just beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. I mean, that was a good win. That's a tough win. I know Eagles aren't as good as they were last year, but that's still a tough-fought victory. Especially a division game on the road. I don't care how good your team is. I don't care how bad your division team is. It is difficult to blow out a division team in their stadium. It's not impossible. It happens. But it's really hard to do it. And so That's another reason why. And if the Titans win this game, it's not even gonna be a 14. I think it's going to be a one-score game. Vikings Bears, that is a tough one as well. Bears aren't good right now. The Bears are hot. They just won a tough division game, and I'm going to give them another tough division game. But once again, the Cowboys are inconsistent. I am going to pick but stay with the Falcons. And Giants proved to me that they can win a tough game. They can win a tough game against a mediocre team. Because I think the 49ers are underrated. I do not think the 49ers are one of the lower ranked teams in the NFL. I think they have some good talent. I think their quarterback they have now has a really good connection with their tight end, Kittle. And I really like that situation. And I don't know what I was just saying. And the Giants just beat that mediocre 49ers team. So, speaking with that, how they just beat a good, mediocre team, I think they could beat another mediocre team at home. And I think the Giants have something there. And if that line can protect long enough where Eli Manning can take a few more deep shots like he did last night against the 49ers, I think the Giants will have more success for the rest of this season and seasons to come. But the thing is I thought the Giants were going to be good for 2 years now, and they're just not. So I don't know what the Giants need to do to make that switch. That's what all those coaching staff is for. Because when you look at this team, obviously it's their offensive line and their quarterback is the big thing to focus on. But when you look at their roster, I mean, they have the roster to go. They had the roster to go far. I mean, they got rid of 2 key defensive players, but then you still got Jenkins, Collins, Olivier Vernon. And offensively, I mean, your offense should be a juggernaut. With Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, Odell Beckham Jr., and Saquon Barkley, your offense should be a juggernaut. But they haven't been, so Giants are inconsistent too. I think the Giants is a really hard team to pick, but I'm going to pick them anyway. Panthers, Lions. I think the Panthers are going to learn how bad they got beat against the Steelers last Thursday. I think the Panthers are going to rebound. I'm not even going to get close to changing that pick. I think they're going to put a beating on. I think the Panthers are mad right now. Because, I mean, Cam Newton seemed chill and relaxed after the game, even though they lost. He seemed relaxed. But I think after he's going to watch this film and how the Steelers dominated the Panthers, I think they're all going to get fueled up, and I think they had an angry week of practice. And I think they're going to keep having angry week of practice. I think they're going to win against the Detroit Lions. Eagles, Saints are hot, and the Eagles were not what they were. I'm not even going to discuss this pick anymore. Seahawks, Packers. It's going to be a tough game for both sides, but I think there's a fuel in the Seahawks stadium. I think there's a fuel in Seattle, and I think Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, I don't care what surrounding team they have, I think the Seahawks will still be able to pull out some tough wins. I think they're going to do another one, and Seattle is a tough pace to play. I am going to keep Seattle there. So I have my picks here, and the only one I have to talk about left is the Chiefs and Rams. Rams, they pulled off a tough division game. There's not much else I could say about it. They pulled off a tough division game on the road. I think they were on the road. And, I mean, they won at home, but it was still a tough division game. Like I said, the Seahawks just have a way to win. So, but speaking how they traveled at home, I don't know if the Rams know the difference between an away game and a home game. I am going to go switch my Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, I'm feeling more comfortable in picking the Chiefs right now than I do the Rams. That's why I'm switching over. And let's look at the schedule before I'm not going to go as in-depth. But, okay, so in this, I'd have the Vikings still in the 6th seed. You have the Saints, and you have the Panthers, you have the Redskins. And this is only if my predictions are correct, and they're not going to be 100% correct. I mean, probably not. I would really love them to. I mean, this would suck for the Chargers to get an 8-2 and the Panthers for 7-3 and be getting wild card. I mean, this sucks. I mean, when you have a really good team in your division, you have a really good team. And this is what I'm saying. Look how close the Colts are for winning that division. And I think, let me go change that game around real quick. What if I say Titans go in there and they win that game, which is a high possibility too. It doesn't really matter what week I'm on. The Titans, this changes the playoff picture. Chargers still in, and the Texans would move to 6. But if the Colts manage to win this game, the Ravens get that 6 seed. So that's a big game for Ravens and Titans. Titans losing that, they're down to the 10th seed. They win that game, they're at 4. So that is a huge game for Tennessee. Tennessee needs to come out on top in that game. Now let's quickly predict the next week. Bengals, Browns. I really like the Browns. They're coming off a bye. I'm still going to go Bengals. Bills, Jaguars. Sorry, Jaguars, you haven't shown me anything, and I think the Bills really showed a defense, and they always had a good defense. But I think their new quarterback, I think the new quarterback has some fire. No one's stopping the Steelers right now. Colts, I think, are better than the Dolphins. Patriots, they're having off a bye. They're going 2 weeks coming off of that tough loss. It's going to be 2 weeks. And they're going to pound out on someone. But the Jets also just got pounded on as well and by the Bills. But if you got pounded on by the Bills, you're going to get pounded on by the Patriots. I mean, that's not even a game in my opinion. Raiders, Ravens. I'm going to pick the Ravens. Raiders won't win a game. Texans, Titans. This could potentially be a game for the division. I think the Texans are a little bit better. Cardinals, Chargers. I'm going to go Chargers right now. Buccaneers, 49ers. The Buccaneers, I think they go on a little losing streak, but I think they're going to get the win back here. Cowboys are inconsistent, but I think they're still better. I am going to pick the Eagles here. Lions at home. I didn't feel like they did that good against the Bears the first time in Chicago. I know Chicago's getting to. It's hard to play because Chicago fans are rising, and knowing that Chicago fans are rising because their team's finally starting to spark and they're doing well again for the first time in a while, that's sparking a lot of fans. So I know their stadium was probably harder to play than it has been in previous years, but they didn't do enough to make me feel comfortable picking them. I think the Bears are going to go win that game away. Seahawks, I really like your way to win. I still think the Panthers are better, and the Saints and the Vikings, I think, are going to get the wins because they are just better teams than the away opponents. So let's see how it is in previewing 2 weeks, just in case I fall a little behind next week and I miss like a Thursday game or something. Steelers, Bengals, Texans at 7-4. Titans fall another game behind, but I have the Colts rising up a game. You have the Bengals in at 6. Patriots in and at 3, Chiefs in, Chargers in. You have the NFC, Bears still, Vikings. They have a good lead on the top of that division. Even if you take away these next 2 weeks, I think they still have a decent lead. I mean, the Bears are good. Panthers, Saints. Those are 2 really good teams that deserve to keep moving on. Redskins, and there's no one else that's a 2-game lead right now over everybody. Honestly, the Giants won't even be out of it yet, and they would be 3-8 was my schedule. And if they beat the Eagles 4-7, and you're still in the division, that's bad. That means you have a bad division. Rams, Seahawks, best team in that, second best team. Really, I thought the NFC going into the year was going to be more open, but a few teams emerged. I mean, I still think the NFC East is wide open for the Eagles, Cowboys, and Redskins. I really don't think Giants are going to get in there. Falcons could get back that 6th seed. I really thought this NFC North was going to be a fight for all 4 of them. Could have fought for that top spot. Doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going to be between the Bears and the Vikings, and the other one's going to get the wild card. So honestly, it didn't turn out. The Panthers are going to get there. The fight between that 6th seed is going to be between maybe the Packers. I mean, the Vikings or the Bears, whatever one doesn't win the division, and the Seahawks and Falcons potentially. That's who's going to fight for that 6th seed. And for the AFC, this is going to be way more competitive than I thought. You have Bengals and Ravens fighting for that wild card. I think you have a Colts and the Titans that will be coming up upon that wild card. And I think you have no one else. So you have the Chargers getting 5, and you have the Colts, Titans, Ravens, Bengals fighting for that 6th seed. And that's how the season's turning out right now, guys. I mean, this is a good season. This is a fun NFL season. But by this week, before this week even comes in, the season's really starting to take place, and I think we're really seeing the teams that are going to go to the Super Bowl right now. And right now, if teams stay as hot as they are, it's going to be the Saints in the NFC. There's no team nearly as hot as the Saints in the NFC, and the AFC is going to be between the Chiefs and the Steelers if they're hot. But the Patriots get hot, and the Rams still could get. The Rams still find ways to win even with all their adversity this year. So a lot of things can happen this year, and yet to happen. But I feel like the Super Bowl is already playing out. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what your opinion. Tell me what you think the Super Bowl is looking like right now for Super Bowl 53. See y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.